I left the Fathom King's hold with a renewed purpose. Firstly came supplies and a journey back to London. The King's list was extensive. It would take time and would require us to sail far and wide. As we crossed that dark water, memories of plenty entered my mind. Hot porridge with creamy milk and honey, the smell of roast chicken, rubbery lumps, the way they cooked them on Mutton Island, the crisp flesh of a newly unearthed Eden fungus. Oh God, the hunger was building. I tried to distract myself and the crew from our growing hunger. Something, anything. Emergency drills, debating philosophy. I walked the ship, watching the crew addressed infractions and laziness. I was suitably distracted, and they knew their captain was watching. We had in our hold a strange catch still. The bandaged poisonaire may yet be able to make something of it, a success of a kind. The poisonaire labored mightily to render the strange catch appetizing. He succeeded, although with his usual effect. Every third mouthful, we all wondered whether we enjoyed the flavor at all. But yes, surely it was spicy and salty and filling, although that lurking under flavor. For a moment, we had our bellies sated. Just as things were looking up and Port Cavendish entered our view, the crimson beast of winter towered upon me on a snow-down street once again. I was no longer on the ship. It expected an offering once again. Here, in this strange space, I had not what I sought to give it. There was but one option presented: echoes. I had 757 of them. Surely the beast would not take them all. 50. An offering was made. The sack knows only hunger. I gave it fortune. I gave it lodgings. I gave it my ship. I gave it the clothes off my back. I stood naked, homeless, and penniless on the streets of London, and Mr. Sachs still demanded more. I awoke in another cold sweat, clutching the sheets, hearing the reassuring hum of the vessel that for now was still mine. It was just another dream. Surely it meant nothing. And as I rose to the surface, Cavendish was there, and so too the Isle of Cats. We were here for one reason, and one reason only: fuel and supplies. 10 fuel, 6 supplies. Enough, hopefully, to see us back to London. For our hearts were full of terror, and we could not chance extinguishing our light, even with enemies close by. No, we would outrun them, outsmart them, outpace them. The sea shower would return home. The great silhouettes of the salt lions were visible to the northwest. We were close to London now, yet a frigate stood between us and the great lions. We slowed, releasing a volley, injuring the vessel. One more shot was all it would take. It amongst the clamour, gleaming, it rose from the sea, a tentacle. It coiled lazily around a sailor who did not speak or cry. She only stepped into its embrace and then was gone, just like that. The sea was quiet, save for the flaming frigate. Nothing stirred, but the moon-pale limb of that thing. It was there, wasn't it? Or did the sailor leap? Surely I didn't push her. Surely. One more volley took the vessel down. 2 crates of supplies and 2 of fuel and a case of curiosities to boot. In the flaring light, it's sea dark, but the taste is the darkness of autumn mushroom wine, an acquired taste, but one that was still worthwhile. Turning the shower around, I set our sights on the salt lions. Perhaps we might be able to carry a brick or 2 back to London. We had space in the hold. It was just a matter of echoes now. With 327 echoes, We had the 200 necessary. We would have to sacrifice the extra fuel and supplies we had acquired from the vessel, but the inhabitants of the Lions gladly took them on. I spent time with the Unmakers, sharing some tales of terror, words of my journey thus far. Our terror was abated somewhat, but we still hovered on the edge, that tentacle coiling in my mind. Our course was directly west now, straight onwards to London. Always a sight for sore eyes. London was ever the same. The smell, the light, the life. It was home, comforting and stabilizing. We had made it. We had returned. First, we delivered our Sphinx stone, yet our transaction was different this time. The bright-eyed sequencer spoke to me. That stone's full of old memories. The bazaar has been drinking them. She nodded at the spires that loomed over London, the dark limbs that sprawled through the streets. I have a better destination. Help us bring light here below, and we will reward you. Reward you richly. Rich reward, light. These were happy words, yet her eyes were familiar. The mark of the Dawn Machine. None understand the Dawn Machine, but all fear it. I did not know exactly what her motives were, yet we were light on echoes. I accepted. Captain, thank you. You are clear of eye and clear of spirit. Bring the Sphinx Stone south to the Grand Geode. It was an Admiralty base once. Now, it's something wonderful. She kissed me warmly on the cheek. We'll see you soon. We had visited the Geode, and we were set to see it once again. But just then, another voice found my ears. Captain, wait. She gave you an errand, didn't she? She serves a certain power, a bright one, but not a friendly one. I have a counter-proposal. Will you listen? He stooped like a clerk and coughed like a miner, but that frock coat was one of the finest fabrics and the newest cut. My name is Penstock, he spoke. The bazaar has been feasting on old memories from the Salt Lions. It only makes her more melancholy, and that's worse for all of us, but especially those who love her. So we've found another use for the Sphinx Stone. We can set something right. Take it far away. We'll tell you where. You will be paid. The man smelt of ammonia and sadness. And right now, I'd rather go somewhere that did not smell of those things. I was a man of my word. I had made an agreement, and I would not be breaking that now. I would reject his plea. Oh, if you change your mind, I'll still be here. Please, the bazaar. She has been so sick with stories. Help me help her. I left, quickly finding a few other desperate souls. One in particular, one that might join us yet. For 5 Echo, a new face joined the Shower's crew. The Scintillac and Z-Soup was taking up too much space. The venturer desired some of it, yet we needed our hold for fuel and supply alike. Next came the Admiral. Firstly, our strategic information, earning us favor and echoes. Then, the port reports. Godfall, Nuncio, Pigmote, the Ottershrew, the Isle of Cats, Polythreme, Visage, the Shelonate, the Fathom King's Hold, Irene. There were other reports to turn in, yet the reward of fuel would be too much for our hold to take, not with the Sphinx Stone still contained within it. So I shared the last of our strategic information. The journey to the Geode would have to occur sooner than later. Visiting the Scholar, I sought to be rid of our watchful Curio, the pitiable little thing. It smells of the Elder Continent, of wind, of light, of stone, of things without faces. Thank you. Then came the delivery from Isari. The scholar dragged their tongue over each of the vials. Fresh, quite. Look at that color. Oh yes, perfect. They handed me an untidy bundle of notes, written on what I hoped was paper. I almost certainly imagined how the notes seemed to shiver in my grip. Isari would be pleased, at least. I would stop by the Isle of Cats next time we were near. Then came a chance for rest in the townhouse. Terror was abated, my wounds healed. I could get used to the late starts. Yet the geode beckoned. We would not linger in London for long. We had more echoes now, but only enough space for one more unit of supplies. We would be running light on food, but fuel was far from a problem. The Grand Geode lay to the south, but a section of our map still remained blank. It was an opportunity to uncover the darkness and to deliver our stone. And so we left with all due haste. Our terror not yet fully at ease, but we were closer to London, sailing calmer seas. Surely the gods would be kind. We could certainly hope. First came a stop at Mutton Island. Food at the Cock and Magpie. We lost a little terror and a handful of echoes. We left bellies full and spirits high, sailing now into that unknown. I had little belief that much would be hiding in the darkness, save for pirates and sailors. A great vortex loomed in the dark, and a trimaran full of stone men. We had no fight with them, and so we carried on, laughter bellowing from the foredeck. Little had bothered us on our journey. That was until the great cannons of a Republican dreadnought cut through the silence of the sea. They sought to try us, yet we would not be so easily sunk. I ordered the sea shower, turned about. We charged the much larger vessel. We were swifter, nimbler, able to track them through the fog, placing our bow against their stern. The cannons fired, one after the other, seldom missing their mark. Yet the rear gun on the dreadnought cut into the sea shower, weakening her hull, but not costing us any loss of life. Before long, the dreadnought was downed. Before it slipped below, we would take what treasure we could. A lacquered casket. It was the size of a small dog or a large Bible. It was locked, but the lock wouldn't resist a persistently applied knife blade within another blade. A leaf-bladed dagger or a long-handled mirror. Either way, it was deadly and beautiful, edged with a rainbow of sharp and slender diamonds. A reflection swung in it dimly. This two-natured thing must come from the many-natured city farthest Irene. It was a captivating treasure. And now we found ourselves closer to the Iron Republic, Van Horn Harbor, less than a few hours west. We were docked there, Hell's client state. I had a gift I sought to offer them. One of the 3 blemigans that blustered and bore the boat. I sought to put one ashore. I wondered how nature would fare in a place which defies its laws. The blemigan spun boldly down the gangplank. It seemed startled when it met itself on the quay. Twice, its duplicates bobbed solicitously, like ambassadors greeting their pairs, and continued past it, up into my ship. The first blemigan vanished into the crowd. The other 2 peered up as if to say, "Are we quite finished here?" We lost 1 blemigan and gained 2 in return. An interesting outcome. I began to compile my report, recording the Republic's events, struggling to do so. The tales of this place were unlike many we had visited. I had lost something and gained tales to fill the void. There was little else to do, and so we left the Iron Republic, returning to the fog, sailing due south, towards the Mercurius Deep and the Grand Geode that lay beyond. Past Castle Clare The geode neared, rushing into the port. I was looking forward to being rid of the stone already. The quartermaster eagerly awaited me. The bazaar is the enemy of our light. It's the enemy of anyone with eyes too. Nasty, greedy, tentacled thing. Well, our light will sort it out. You'll see, because you have eyes. And wonderful eyes they are too, if I might say so. This stone of yours will help, and we reward those who help us. Here, a bundle of banknotes. Here, a monograph on perception. And here, she leant forward and kissed me, once on each eyelid. As she drew back, the world had changed. I always knew the Neath was a place where the laws of the sunlit world did not apply, but now, somehow I could see it. Was this chaos or freedom? The quartermaster directed her laborers to pack up the stone. The sea was quiet. The geode glowed like a lamp, and I was 1,000 echoes richer. That was the last load of Sphinx stone. Perhaps more would follow, perhaps not. The light here in the stew, it was awfully pretty, as was the searing enigma that I had witnessed with my own eyes. Hunger gripped us once again. Luckily, we were able to sate it somewhat. The mangrove provided, and so too did the sea. A pirate frigate sought to challenge us. Within it, 2 units of supply, and 2 of fuel, and much to my joy, even more coke, like coal but more so. It would carry us back to London. Yet all was not well. 2 of the crew were lost by a crack pirate frigate. Still, we won out, earning fuel and supplies from the old vessel. Deeper within, yet another cache of fuel. Lives were lost, but supplies were gained. Reading back through my entries, I was beginning to notice a change. My perspective shifting. The loss of life here at sea always hurts, but it's less so now. The crew are never expendable. Their lives just as valuable as my own. Yet the gods, they determine who lives, who dies out on these dark waters. The gods and the things that linger down below. The things that we do not speak of. The things that we see out the corner of our eyes. The things that we all know are there, yet we shall not name them. For names give things power. The rest of the journey back to London went without fanfare or frenzy. We had done what was needed, and those we lost would be remembered over clinking glasses by a warm hearth fire. Upon docking, I received word from the scholar. They had yet another present, one that I would not turn away. More supplies, pickled and salty. After receiving the gift from the scholar, I sought to share the searing enigma with the Carnelian exile. I invited her to dine with me and asked her to remove her glasses. She did, folding them neatly, placing them on the table, then met my eyes. Her own eyes were marvelously bright. The irises, amber, the whites seemed to be flecked with gold. Yes, she said. I've been touched by the Dawn Machine. I believe you already knew that, or you wouldn't have asked me to remove my spectacles. I might be wrong, but in either case nothing has changed. Now that you know, we will still be wary of each other. She tapped her thumb against her index finger. I am always the same. Do you see? I do not change. I proceed on the same path I always have. I am only one choice, and I will be content only when I have no choice at all. Now, let's eat and talk. You promised me something special, and I will give you what little I can in return. And so we did. Eat and talk, and I spoke of what I saw. She had the discomforting, even irritating habit of answering my questions just before I finished speaking. I protested. The journey was the destination. Each choice you make in the future will depend on one. The ship goes where the captain sails, and where the captain chooses to sail depends on where one has been. Her eyes narrowed. Perhaps, she said, perhaps our choices determine our heading, but at last, when the lamps go dark, there is only one direction. One day, we'll go there together. She would not be drawn further. She picked up her knife and fork. Between mouthfuls, she told me something of the starved men and their wars on the roof, the arts of flesh-shaping that they practiced and debated. I enjoyed this, she added at the end of the meal. We should do it again when you're ready to talk about soul. I had learned much from the exile, but it seemed there was even more to learn yet. Perhaps there was some truth to her philosophy. Perhaps my path, my choices, had been decided long ago, when my father did not return, when all he had built fell apart, when he left me in ruin. That set me on this path, and now I deal with the Fathom King, seeking artifacts beyond the comprehension of many that walk the streets of London. Yet that is the life of a sailor, is it not? If nothing else, it certainly is quite the tale. I tire, though. I tire of the close calls, the hunger. As I look upon my frame in the mirror, I am a shadow of my former self. The eyes that stare back at me from beneath this mask, they are not eyes that I know. They're the eyes that have seen much. Eyes that have seen one pulled from the deck of his ship, pulled beneath the waves. We will rest, and we will remember. It is what we do. Through song and salt, we shall